Hi, welcome to the RAC Podcast. I'm Lori, your host this week. I have two very special guests with me today. I have Sean Todman, the owner of Renaissance Athletic Club, and Jerry Price, who is the Director of Business Development. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Let's just get right into this.
Let's go.
Sean, what inspired you to open Renaissance Athletic Club?
I feel like I've told this story a number of times when it's been a little while. So going down memory lane. To make a relatively long story a little shorter, I was playing football in college, a collegiate student athlete, and would come home in the summers because I left the area when I was 13 or 14. So really missed those Southwest Michigan summers, going to the beach, hanging out with friends,
It's the best.
Yeah, you both know.
Absolutely.
I've been here for years. So, really, wanted to be able to have that experience. However, I had to balance that with, being the best student athlete that I could be. And both student and athlete both required a lot of work. And I realized pretty quickly, my teammates were either staying on campus and working out. A lot were from New Jersey, so they were going up to New Jersey and training with, professional athletes, NFL players and the like. Other teammates going into Georgia and having access to resources, whether it's facilities, equipment, people, that were helping them grow and advance and be their best, the best versions of themselves. And, as great as this area is, those types of resources were not available to me. And so it was frustrating. I wasn't sure what to do. And I was voicing my frustration. And at one point, my dad got tired of hearing it. And he made it known. He said, stop whining and do something about it. And so I said to him, well, what do I do? He said, I don't know, go figure it out. So some buddies of mine and I would kind of talk about this idea of starting a fitness business and, just the ideation process and, anything's possible. And so it went from kind of this pipe dream conversation to, oh man, maybe there's an opportunity here. So then I actually went to my dad and I said, hey, I think I want to try and start a business here. How do I get started? And he said, I don't know, go figure it out. So, but that was the start of a discovery process. I actually ended up taking some business school courses at Georgetown, which I made it through. But, it gave me the foundation to kind of at least get the ball rolling, started asking questions. I have never been one that's been afraid to ask for help and assistance or guidance when needed. And so that served me well. And then going through the process, I realized that I have an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yes, you do.
And I apologize. I know that can be challenging to work with and be around at times, but I would close my eyes and I would just get this vision of what could be. And I think the other part of it is, I realize that if it's something that I can benefit from personally, there's a lot of other folks in the area that can benefit from it too. I went to school here from 4th grade through 9th grade. So, a little bit of elementary, all in the middle, a little bit of high school. And one of the things that I noticed and always stuck with me through all my travels, there's a ton of talent in this area.
Yes, there
is.
Talent. And it's not noticed. It's not nurtured and developed and supported the way that it is in other areas. And so I thought this was an opportunity not just to help myself and my own goals and dreams, but to help others pursue their goals and dreams as well.
That is wonderful.
Love it.
So Renaissance Athletic Club has been open about 13 years now, correct?
What are we, 2025?
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be 13 years in December.
That's what I thought.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Where does the time go?
Getting old.
So in early days of the business, let's just keep on going. Early days of the business, what did that look like to you? And like what dreams and major challenges did you face?
Oh, man. More than we have time to get into.
Yeah, we only
here,
have an hour. Less than an hour.
It was a discovery process, the whole process. There are things about, running a business and just construction and bidding process and, building out an org chart and, just everything. It was all learning for me. And there was challenges to it, but there was an intrigue, as a kid. You see things and you're like, man, I wonder how that got started. I wonder how you do that. And so, every step was a learning. And that was, part of the journey. I think, most challenging, I think was just kind of getting going.
Yeah.
So figuring out how to get started. One of the things that always sticks out to me is we went to Horizon Bank and met with a gentleman named Don Roddy, who was working at Horizon at the time. And I went and said, hey, let's say I wanted to start a business and I needed some money from you all. What would you need from me? And he said, well, I need a feasibility study. I said, okay, great. And then I walked out and said, what the hell is a feasibility study?
But you had the first step.
You did.
And then learning about what a feasibility study was. Okay, I know I'm going to need help. So one of my friends, I said, we need to try and find, a company that can help us. And we found a consulting group out of Boston that helped us put the study together. And so then I learned about the different components to putting a business plan together. Then I think, the next challenge was connecting with people. And getting a team together that could help make this dream a reality. And I got pretty lucky. I was connected with a woman who is actually RAC's co-founder, and she is from the area. A little bit older than myself, because I was in my early 20s at the time.
Yeah.
And so, she knew folks, accountants and lawyers. And,
all the people you need.
All the people you need to pull it together.
And so over time, we assembled a team, where each person on the team kind of knew their space, and together we kind of moved forward. So one of the things that I used to say and will always say is, the most impactful thing that I did was convince a bunch of people smarter and more knowledgeable than me that my idea was worth working for.
I definitely think it was.
Me too. I agree. And the community agrees.
Yeah.
And then, challenges, we planned to have one. We were planning to renovate an existing property and move in there. And when we spent, quite a bit of resources planning it out, what it would look like and, all that stuff. And then we got to the 11th hour and the numbers didn't work. So now, we spent this money, assuming that we're going to get this certain property, and it fell through. And so then it became, okay, with the money that we've allocated for the rehab, what do we get, for a new construction, a new build? And our 20,000 square foot, 2-story, beautiful facility turned into 13,000 square feet of 3 rooms and a bunch of drywall. So navigating that, finding property, finding the equipment, going through the process to even get the funding, right? So going and pitching to the bank and asking them for
a lot of money.
It's 8 figures, 7 figures, something like that. So yeah, just I think every step in the process had its own challenge because it was something that I was unfamiliar with, and so it was learning about how this works. Come from a macro perspective is probably the biggest challenge. And one of the things I used to tell folks that we started working with is, for me, not working with you just to get the job done. I'm also working with you to learn how to do it the right way so I can empower myself to be able to do this more independently in the future if the opportunity ever arises.
I like that. So, Jerry,
Yes.
how are ya?
I'm doing good, Laura. How about you?
I'm good.
All right.
So let's talk about you and what you do for Renaissance Athletic Club.
Let's talk.
So being the Director of Business Development, what are your key responsibilities? What does that mean to us?
Wow. Let me start that with changing the title, right? And let's say friendship building director.
Oh, I like that.
Right? Because when you say business, it sounds very transactional. It sounds, kind of cold. But this really is about how do we build friendships? How do we build connections, right? And not only building connections, but building those lasting relationships, right? I love what Sean said when he said, when he was talking about the RAC and what it could be. Every person we engage with, they have a vision of who they want to be. And how they could be, right? So my role is to tap into that vision, tap into their personal goal, their personal dream, and show them how the RAC aligns with that. So when I look at my position is truly about how do we build friendships so we can have those friends be part of our family.
Right? I like that. It makes our community.
It makes our community grow. The RAC grows, and it gives us this unique lens and this unique viewpoint to help people become the most optimal version of themselves that they can be. So when people say, what do you do for a living? I help people be who they want to be. And that is probably the most important thing in this world.
But that also leads into not only just as the person, but it's to help them and their business become the best, because maybe it's supporting their team member or the employees they have by giving them, access to the RAC or. Absolutely.
Right. So when we look at the RAC, I look at the RAC as 2 components, right? We have the RAC, right? That's the gym piece.
Right.
That's the equipment. That's the dumbbell, the barbells, the treadmills, the classes. That's the RAC. You go in there, you sweat, you have a great time, and you walk out tired, and you're like, I'm not going to do this again. But you come back the next day and you do it again, right? Right. So that's the RAC. But then we have the Renaissance. Right. And I don't want people to forget the Renaissance. What Sean just shared in terms of how this began was the Renaissance story. Every single person, every single business, every single entity in this community has a Renaissance story. They have a story of where they began, where they want to go, and all the support and help that they needed to get there. Right. So we are the RAC, and we're also the Renaissance. So in my role, I want to help people tap into their Renaissance story, and to tap into it in such a way that it not only helps them move to where they want to be from a fitness standpoint and a health standpoint, but also from a mental clarity standpoint, right? From a lifestyle standpoint. And when you put those 3 pillars together, when you are physically and healthy feeling well, when you are mentally well-being feeling well, right? Businesses gain from that, because a satisfied and a motivated person, whatever they do in their life, they are happy, they're satisfied and motivated. And what employee or what business doesn't want a happy and satisfied employee that helps them be more productive?
Well, that leads me into what, Sean, you always say this, what you're saying for people when they walk into the club.
Always want them to walk out feeling better than when they walked in.
There you go.
There you go.
That's
there
the key.
You go.
And I would actually like to add to that as well, because I'm a firm believer that when people are feeling their best and they're in their best space, they put more into what they're doing, whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when you put more in, you get more out. Right?
Yep.
The energy you give is the energy you get. And, taking a step back from the individual and the business, the community benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So ultimately, the community is the winner.
The benefactor, yeah.
And, this actually touches on the name and the timing. First disclaimer, Renaissance Athletic Club, the name was not mine. It came from my co-founder. Also, our tagline, Fitness Through Community, it's not mine. Came from my co-founder. Having said that, it really resonated with me. Mm-hmm. I was a sociology major in undergrad, and so I was in that space. And, understanding people, understanding communities, understanding what the factors are that drive, health, wellness, relationships, good and bad, right? At the time that we were planning this, downtown Benton Harbor in particular, was in the midst of this rebirth, right? Yes. Which we see now in the Arts District and kind of revitalized downtown area. And so Renaissance, rebirth, fit
resonate
perfectly.
Yes.
And, what Jerry's talking about is everyone's own personal renaissance and rebirth, right? And I think as we move through different stages of life, part of that is a rebirth into a different phase and a different stage. And so I think the name, the location, the time fit perfectly with the mission. And so, when we help people be their best selves, we're helping them in their own personal renaissance. And then they go and they share that in the circles and the spaces that they're in.
Yep.
And in that way, you have an exponential level of impact, and that's how the community ultimately benefits.
Have you seen personal transformations in members or someone that has really stuck with you that was part of the organization or a member
So many. We had a member years ago who lost probably around 100 pounds.
I remember that.
100 pounds. And there's a picture of him standing outside the front doors, holding up a pair of his old pants.
Yep.
And it's literally twice
double the
size of him. Wow. Yeah.
And so that was, that's powerful. I've had team members tell me that I've saved their marriage. I've had members say that RAC has saved their life. I've seen personal growth in a number of folks. There is one person left over from the very, very first day of planning what became Renaissance Athletic Club. And so we actually had a meeting at my dad's office at Whirlpool. It was Thanksgiving 2009. And I was back on holiday break. And so myself and 4 friends met up. And my dad came to the office on the weekend. So he's like, I'm just going to pop in and pop out. And he popped in. He said, guys, I'm going to tell you 2 things. One, this is going to be harder than any of you realize. And 2, not all you going to make it to the end.
Wow.
Good luck. And walked out the door. And, my dad will always say he's not the smartest man in the world, but he seems to be on more often than not. And he was spot on. And the reason I bring that up is because the one that's remaining, his name is Travis Hedgepeth. He's our facilities manager at the club. Opens the club for us and does a number of things for us. Yeah. And he's been with me since day one, and the growth that I've seen in him has been incredible. And as I reflect on that, my own growth is something that I'm proud of. You know, Laura, we so for those that don't know, we were planning on opening December 2012, and you know, the build out process is an interesting one. Yeah. So there were some, you know, again some folks that didn't make it all the way through, and so it was October, and we went to Laura with the company she was working for at the time and said, "Hey, so we're opening this business."
Yeah, they did.
It's a pretty big business, you know. It's small business, but for us, you know, pretty big. And there was a lot of talk in the community, you know, a lot of buzz, I guess is the best way to put it. And I said, "Yeah, so we're opening this," and she said, "Yeah." I said, We need some marketing.
Just a small thing.
Just a little bit.
Well, how much marketing? Well, all of it.
Haven't done anything.
When you open it? 60 days. And you know, to be sitting here with you now as RAC's leader, the growth in you has been incredible. So. Yeah, there's a number. We've had athletes in sport performance that have gone on to play, you know, college sports. We've had, you know, members that have gone through, you know, difficult situations in their personal life, and RAC, you know, they communicated that RAC was kind of their safe space. Yes. So, you know, there's, again, so many, and that to me is one of the most rewarding parts of being a business owner, is not just the impact, but watching it and seeing people grow and feeling like you're a part of people's growth and evolution and renaissance.
There it is.
Well, since you touched on how you know me, how do you know him? How do you know Jerry? Let's uncover this story.
It's a short story.
That's another great one too.
I don't know about that.
So, you know, when word started to get around, had a lot of folks that were excited. A lot of, you know, kind of touching on if something that I can benef from. I know there are others that can benefit. That was the early feedback we got. Oh, man, really great that you're doing this. Can't wait till it's open. Oh, man, we've been wanting something like this for a long time. So there was a lot of positive, but not everybody was happy.
Right.
You know, if for some that were already in the space, you know, it was, you know, it was a competitor coming. Right? And so there's another side to dealing with that. And we did an open house to kind of, you know, show the building to folks. And Jerry was one of the folks that came down, and he said, "Hey, my name's Jerry, and I'm with the Y." And I was like, "Oh no,
here we go, right here.
What's gonna happen?" You know? I was bracing myself, and you know, he was just very disarming in how he communicated, very supportive, very appreciative, and he said, "Hey, you know, we're looking at doing some upgrades at the Y. There's been things we've been thinking about, and you know, this is a beautiful facility, and we would love to be able to learn a little bit, pick your brain a little bit." And you know, all that tension that I was feeling
out the door
just melted right away. And I said, "Absolutely." And that was the beginning.
That was the start
of not just a great friendship with a great man, but also a partnership with YMCA.
Yes, this is true.
And
yes.
we've done a number of things over the years. The one that I am most proud of is we did a collaboration to support the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes.
Where the kids were bused to RAC to get in RAC's pool.
Yep.
But we don't have swim instructors.
Yep.
So partner with the Y, and swim instructor from the Y came down and did swimming lessons for Boys and Girls Club kids in RAC's pool.
Yeah.
Things like that. Again, that's what it's about.
Absolutely, man.
And Jerry was the catalyst for that. And I just have to add, this culminated in just over a year ago.
Yeah.
So I've been married for just over a year.
Yes, you have. Congratulations.
Thank you. And we got engaged about 18 months before. And when I proposed about a day later, my wife said, "Okay, I got the date."
She did.
I got everything figured out. And I said, "Okay, it's your day. I just have 2 asks, not even requests, asks. If you're okay with it, sweetie."
Smart man already.
Starting off well.
One, my dad's family's from St. Thomas, and my grandmother and a ton of families still down there. And my grandmother's a very, very special woman, and she made it very clear that she was done traveling. So I said, "Grandma, when I get married, I'm coming to you." So I said, I would really like to be able to get married in the Virgin Islands in St. Thomas. And then whoever marries us, I would like to have a personal relationship with them, because this is a special moment for me. And my wife knows JP because she used to work at the Y. And she said, "Oh, well, JP is an officiant." I said, "Done deal." That's it.
That's it.
We got one name on the list.
That's it. You gotta do it.
And, I couldn't be more grateful to you for that. And it's a reflection of who you are as a man, and how good you've been to me, and how supportive and encouraging and inspiring you've been to me. So
I think that goes both ways, man. That goes both ways.
Just trying to be like y'all. So yeah, that's how I met JP, and that's where we are today.
Well, let's go back to you, Jerry.
Yes. What is it?
So circling back to business, what's your mindset when it comes to focusing on well-being?
Wow. I think, that mindset for me is it touches on some of the things that we've already talked about, right? It touches on, where do you want to go? What do you want to be? Who do you want to be, right? So for me, well-being is about how you train your mind, your body, and your spirit to be motivated to become who you want to become, right? And that's kind of like that formula for me, right? It's that formula of input is where I want to be.
Right.
And when that input, when that vision, when that goal catches your motivation, it's at that moment your Renaissance story begins, right? So for me, that's the mindset that we have to be in when it comes to well-being, and look at well-being as this larger umbrella than just, physical fitness. Well-being is, how is my soul settled with my spirit? Well-being is, am I financially in alignment with my life? Well-being is, does my activity in my life become the lifestyle that I want, right? So how do you not, as Sean said, he kept complaining and complaining. His dad said, "What are you going to do about it?"
Yeah.
That's the mindset we have to have, is not saying, "Well, I wish I had this in my life," but saying, "How can I make my life happen?" Right? And to me, that's one of the reasons I'm at the Renaissance Athletic, right? It's about, I'm at a point in my life where well-being is a top priority. So how do I align my lifestyle, my mental, my physical, my financial to a point where I feel like I'm hitting stride? And you think about life, right? We're all running. We're all running from place to place, from moment to moment.
Yep.
And there's only a few times when we're running that we feel like we're in stride, right? How can we hit stride more? And I think we have an opportunity when we switch our mindset, right? When we switch our mindset to knowing that what I want to be meets my motivation. So now when those two things collide, my renaissance begins. So I really try to focus on people, not about what we want from you. What do you want from yourself? And how do we help you get that out of yourself? Because it's already in there.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm going to add to that again. Because I can't help myself. Laura, I know you know this, and so sorry for saying it again. You'll hear it on Tuesday again in our leadership meeting. But one of the phrases, being an athlete, former athlete, coaches, drill these phrases into you.
You all have to understand, Sean refers everything as a reference to sports, no matter what it is. Some days I just smile and
can't
go,
help
okay.
myself. Yeah, whatever.
Part of it, yeah.
But one of the things that I've kind of come to realize over time is everybody wants something. We all want something, whatever it is. A lot of times we're not fully aware of what's required
to get it,
to get what we want. And as you start to pursue, there becomes a discovery process, a learning process where, oh bleep, this is what's required to get what I want. And where I've arrived is, that's where you really find out about where people are at. Once the realization is hit on what is required to get what they're looking for, how they respond to that says a lot. And I think, actually, I'm sure all of us at some point have said, I'm not willing to do that, or I'm not ready to do that, or I'm scared about taking that step. And so, we limit ourselves from, achieving the things we want because there's a fear or an apprehension towards doing what's required. And I think, what Jerry's talking about is really powerful because, what we want to be is part of that inspiration. You can do it. You can do what's required to get what you want. Yes. That all starts with accepting the challenge.
Absolutely.
But you need support. Nobody does that on their own.
Right.
I don't believe that there's a self-made person.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Now someone can, take the smallest of opportunities and maximize the hell out of it. But everybody needs someone or something to give them that opportunity. And I hope that we serve as a part of that for, our customers and the folks that interact with us.
Well, that's perfect, because that actually leads me into a whole nother
great transition, right? Look at that transition.
Right. My adding on was good this time.
It's good. Like we're in stride right now. I'm loving this.
We're
in
doing
stride.
really well. Well, so speaking of the stride and the connection, and how do you stay connected with the needs and the people and the voices of the community? How do you do that as a business owner?
I think it's relying on the team. Right. Even when I was getting started, even as quote unquote the visionary, I have blind spots. I'm aware that there may be perspectives that are counter to mine. There may be perspectives that I'm not thinking about. And so, tapping into the team and their means and their relationships and their conversations helps me kind of take in different perspectives. You know, as you know, you both know, particularly you, Laura, some of our members are not shy to tell us what they want or what they need.
But we love you.
And you know, it's better to know than to wonder.
Correct.
That is so true.
We need to know,
because we can't, you can't act on anything that you don't know, right? And so I think that's you know, that's really important. Luckily, my wife is from the area and you know, has a very vast network, and so she's always communicating with folks and relaying things back to me. And then, you know, I also I try to pay attention. You know, one of the reasons that I got into sociology, and one of the reasons I think I was really good at in this space, is I like to observe. I like to people watch. I like to just sit back and take in. I'm shy, you know, so it's very comfortable for me because it requires little talking or interaction,
little talking, just
know?
listening.
But it's all data. It's all information, and you know, how people respond to certain things that we're doing. How people respond when we stop doing certain things, what's going on nationally, you know, what's going on in the community at a more macro level. So it's taking in, you know, leaning on the team, you know, and what they're taking in, but always being wide-eyed. Yeah. Always having your ears open, always be paying attention. And it's most valuable when people don't think that you're watching.
Yeah.
You know, because you ask directly, you know, won't always get everything. But when you sit back and just kind of watch, people will tell you where they're at and what they need in one way or another.
Yep.
How about you, Jerry?
Wow.
How do you stay connected with the needs and the voices of the community, especially in your position?
Yeah, I think for me, staying connected is never being disconnected. All right. So when you talk about being connected, it's about keeping that relationship intact. So this goes back to me changing the title to friendship building, right? You know, I'm born and raised in the Benton Harbor area, right? So this is my hometown. This is my Mayberry, right? If you're an Andy Griffith fan, this is my Mayberry, right? And one thing that I've always done is make sure that I listen, right? You know, when we talk about friendships and we talk about relationships and we talk about our members, right, who aren't shy to tell us, the reason they're not shy to tell us is because they have a relationship with us.
Right.
You want the people you care for to succeed. So when you see something that can help them succeed, right, you share it with them. So for me, connection is about listening. Connection is about showing up, right, and just being there,
being present.
I'm not here to ask you for anything, but I know there is something important in your life. I'm going to be there. I know your business is having an open house. I'm going to be there. I know your son or daughter is graduating from Benton Harbor, Lakeshore, or St. Joe. I'm going to be there. I know you're doing a fundraiser. I'm going to be there, right? When you are there for people, they see how connected you are to them, so they connect to you. The story Sean just shared about members saying, the RAC saved my life. Members saying, the RAC saved my marriage. Members saying, I lost 100 pounds, right? All of those things are connection points that the RAC has connected with them in such a way and that they never disconnected. And I can tell you, as I'm coming back into this and I'm hearing stories of people in the community, there is probably 3 degrees of separation from anybody in this community who has a RAC story, right? If they're not a member, they have spoke with someone who is a member and has that story. So when we talk about how we stay connected, never become disconnected, right? And being engaged and involved, fitness through community. In order for that to happen, you have to be in the community. So that's one thing that I love that the RAC does. We're in the community, right? So it's easy to stay connected, to be connected, because we are a part of this community. So that's my answer, and I'm sticking with it.
All right. Well, I'll be changing your business cards on Monday, just so you know. It's going to say friendship or development.
With a big smiley face.
With a big smiley face on it, right?
Drawn
There it is.
smiley face.
There it is. I love it.
Yeah, our little man's going to have a smiley face on him, our little running man.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go towards like looking ahead in the future between yourself and RAC and personal and fun. We're going to kind of go all over the place. So, Sean, what's next for the club? Is there more expansion plans? Is there new services? Is there some community things coming out? I know we have an event coming up in October. It's the 5K. So everybody can still sign up. Sign up now. What do you see? What are your visions?
Oh gosh. Well, continued growth. I don't have the clearest picture on what that looks like, in part because, always taking in data.
Right.
And so I think something that's important is to be agile, to be able to pivot when needed. Having said that, I'll be really excited to finish our locker room renovations.
You and me both.
We're ready.
I've been wanting to do that, since 2017. Was the first time we brought Ab and Marsh in.
Yeah.
So we're like, why don't we hold off for a little bit? Several times. So excited, to get that finished. I would love to expand the building. I think there's some unused space that we could potentially take advantage of. But that's
Future.
probably a longer term thing.
Yeah.
That'd be quite a project. As a former athlete, the athlete always has a special place in my heart. Really excited about Todd Johnson and everything that he's doing. And so, I've got my eye on, really growing our sport performance.
Our youth sports performance.
Sport performance and really, and helping young student athletes, realize their dreams and realize their potential. And then I think, the other aspect or the other thing that's been really sticking out to me lately is wellness. I think
we just changed the name of our studio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Our yoga studio is no longer the yoga studio.
Now the wellness
it is the
studio.
health and the wellness studio. Yep.
Yeah. Which yoga is
all part of it. Wellness.
An important part of. But I think, something that Jerry's been talking about quite a bit. It's not just the physical. The mental, the emotional are
huge,
critical.
Yeah.
Because if you're off in those spaces, you're never going to get the most out of whatever you're doing physically. And I am also a firm believer that life is about balance. And I think wellness provides balance. It helps us stay in equilibrium. So we can pursue that stride.
Yes.
Right. So I really want to diversify, expand, and really promote, elevate wellness programming at RAC. Because I think there's such a wide range of people. Like, everybody can benefit from physical movement, but the intensity, the duration, what you're doing, that can vary tremendously.
Yes.
Some people it's like just get up and get moving, and some people it's like, I got to run 6 miles, and everything in between. Wellness can have value for everybody. No matter who you are, no matter what stage in life you're in, no matter what your goals are. wellness is a key component of that. And so I really want to be able to do more to provide wellness services for our customers and for the community.
I like that. Jerry, you have anything to add of what's coming down your future?
Oh, what's
or
coming?
ideas that you have for RAC?
Everything.
I know you
You do a whole other podcast on that.
I know.
Everything.
I know.
Right? I love that the RAC is in its own Renaissance story. 13 years strong, right? The RAC has changed in 13 years, and the community has changed in
definitely.
13 years. So my biggest goal is that the RAC becomes the lifestyle center for everything, right? When we talk about everything that is competing for time within our lives, right? You know, from kids to family to friends to jobs to everything else that competes for time. I want the RAC to be that lifestyle center where people come to get back into alignment, right? To find that harmony, to find that balance, to find that commitment to living well and well-being, right? Is that we're more than just a fitness place. We are a friendship place, right? Because well-being is about having friendships. Well-being is about relationships, camaraderie. The best thing that I see at the RAC when people are coming out of the classes is not that they're sweating, not that they're huffing and puffing, but they're hand in hand and they're hugging and they're laughing and joking. And that's the piece that the RAC brings.
Yeah.
Right? That's well-being in action right there. When you come out of a class and you're tired and you're sweating, but the first thing you do is laugh with somebody and say, I can't wait to see you next class, we've succeeded. That's well-being in action.
That's very well said. Yes.
Yeah. And it's a core piece of being in the fitness and wellness space. I was in graduate school during COVID, and so we're doing our online classes, and my professor is sending me all these articles on, obviously our space was a tumultuous one during COVID, not knowing what's going to happen and this and that. And so, all these articles talking about the fitness, the gym business is dead, and, Peloton is taking off, and the mirror and all these things. And he used to send me these all the time. Sean, what's going to happen? Sean, what's going on? Sean, what's going on? And I said, I don't buy into any of this. I don't buy into any of it. At the end of the day, we are social creatures.
We need connections,
right? We need connections,
we absolutely
do. Thousands of years ago, we formed groups and formed families and communities and came together to build together. And so I used to say, people want to be coming together. People want to be around one another.
Yeah.
People want that. So, we'll roll through this. We'll get by. But on the other end, people are going to want to come back.
Absolutely.
And just as a quick aside, there's no better example than the RAC team. Those that were a part of RAC, whether part of the RAC team or whether a member, know that we went through some tough times in 2017, 2018, 2019. And our culture really suffered. And our culture is everything. That is the foundation of the impact that we're able to have. And so leading up to COVID, a lot of folks were not feeling fulfilled.
Correct.
With RAC. And it was really tough. I wasn't sure what to do. I will just say on a quick aside, that is also probably one of the most gratifying things I've heard, even though it was, a tough situation to bring it out. But I had a number of folks say, Sean, the reason I stuck around was because of you. It's like I thought about maybe I need to go do something else. Maybe I need to go be in a better environment. And we stuck it out because we knew what you wanted. We knew what your vision was. We heard you and how you communicated, and we believed. And we believed in you. So I'm grateful to all the folks that rode through those times with us. But so when COVID forced us to close, I know there was more than a couple people that were like, heck yeah.
Longest 6 months of my life, FYI.
I don't have to go in there. I don't have to, and people were burnt out.
Yeah.
People were tired and the environment wasn't a positive one. And so it took energy just to be at a base level. Yep. And so, it was a welcome closure for a number of folks. By the time we reopened, those folks were itching to come back. Over time, it was, man, I'm glad I don't have to go there. And then it became, I wouldn't mind popping down once in a while. And, by the time September rolled around, they're like, hey, we're ready to go.
We're
like, hey,
ready.
And so, and we did some other things, in terms of making sure that we had folks that understood the importance of culture and were willing to commit to being a contributing part of the culture that we need. It's not just want, we need it. And so everyone came back happy. Everyone came back understanding the value of the culture because we knew what it felt like without it.
Yeah.
And so the energy was just completely different. It was back to what it was when we opened, December 2012 and 2013. And, I'm grateful, but also I'm not terribly surprised because people wanted to be around one another.
Yeah.
Yes,
and all the frustration, all the annoyance, they had time to kind of brush that off. And, it's personnel changes too, some folks coming in, some folks, going out. But, we're social creatures. And, just like no one builds themselves by themselves, we all need support.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We all need support to be our best. And so what Jerry's talking about is really important because that's part of the fabric that helps us be our best by being in a community of people that are all trying to be their best.
Yep.
Fitness through community.
That's it.
Thank you, Martha.
Okay, one silly question before we get final serious. What's your to-go playlist for working out? What's your one song you have to hear?
I'm gonna let you go, Jerry.
Can you think of one?
Man, yeah, this is easy for me. Jay-Z, Coming of Age. I'm a hip hop junkie, so
I never would have thought that.
So for all the listeners who haven't heard that one yet, Jay-Z, Coming of Age. I'm a Jay-Z fanatic, so that's my go-to. So if my headphones on, Jay is playing through the earphones.
What you got?
Whew, that is a tough question.
I know you have your little iPod,
Almost.
original iPod you walked around with.
So
Original.
Original.
I've got, on my workout playlist, I've probably got 2,000, 2,500 songs.
Wow.
I could probably play 2 of them in a public
Yeah, I'm about to say. Yeah.
So y'all got some language in them.
Yeah,
That's the inner shine.
I got that energy going, Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. I'm trying to find one that people may actually have heard of. I'm going to go with artists instead because it's hard to pick a song.
Okay.
DMX was probably the first growing up that I was like,
That's
okay,
that
that puts me in that space.
Yeah.
And then there's a group called 3-6 Mafia. They're out of Memphis, and they're
hip hop world.
Intense.
They're intense. They're intense. Great word to describe them. Great word to describe them.
They get the blood going. And then because this was really big when I was in high school. Lil Jon, the Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
I like the head knocking. Gosh, so I will think about a song. It may have to be 3 to 5, but when I come back, I'll have a better answer for you.
All right. Well, just to wrap us all up here, we are in the middle of renovations.
Yes.
Hoping that they will be finished in September.
Yes.
We are also planning in September, hope towards the end, as soon as renovations are done, an open house and a welcome and a walkthrough so you can see both sides of the locker rooms. Is there anything more you want to add to this excitement that's coming, that we're building with all this renovation and all these changes?
Wow. I think, this is the start, right?
Okay.
This is the start. We have 13 years down and we have 60 years to go.
Yeah.
So this is just our second stride. So just want people to come out, enjoy, see what your Renaissance story is all about. See what our Renaissance story is all about, right? So hope to see everyone at some point come to us so we can find out where we connect, how we become friends, and what's our next step together, right? That's the big piece, right?
How can we help?
Fitness through community.
Yeah.
What's our next step together with the community?
Got it.
I am the most important thing I want to do now is going back to something I said when we first started, and something I said quite often in the earlier days of RAC is the most valuable thing I did, the most important thing I did was convincing a bunch of great people that my idea, my vision was worth working, hard for. You too, case in point. So most important things, I just want to thank all the folks that are a part of this journey, and in particular this renovation, right? And anybody that's done these projects knows that they're not easy, and the only guarantee is construction is something unexpected is going to happen.
Change. Yep.
So obviously Laura running the whole thing, to Travis, being your right-hand person there, to CPM, to Abin Marsh, Whiteman, all the folks that are a part of this project. So I just want to thank them. I think the other thing that I want to say, to Jerry's point about wanting to see people and be a part of, have them be a part of this next phase in our journey. I would just like to leave with customers, community, anybody listening. We're here because we care. We genuinely care. I'm a big believer in the win-win. So, I have personal goals with this. I'm thinking about, trying to set up the next chapter of my life with my spouse. Now is the first time I got somebody else to be thinking about on a daily basis. Before that, it was my four-legged buddy. So it's a little different. So I have there are things I want to get out of RAC. Financially and personal growth and those things, preparing myself for other opportunities, being able to provide value to other folks trying to do things. But that's not more important than the other side, and that's providing the service and the value that we've committed to providing, and doing our best to make sure that everyone is able to have the experience that they want. Everyone is able to feel empowered and feel confident to take that step towards doing what's required to get what they want, to being in stride, to having balance, to having the great relationships and the support, and walking out the door feeling better than when they walked in. So I if there's anything that I want folks to know, from this time here, it's that we care. Mm-hmm. We're here because we care. We're going to make mistakes. Right? We're going to miss some things. Mm-hmm. We're going to take some missteps. But we are always going to try to learn, always try to grow, and always try to make sure that we don't just talk the talk, but we back up what we commit to with our actions day in and day out. And so I thank you all for believing in us. And we're going to do our best to make sure that belief is well worth it for everybody involved.
Wonderful. Love it. Well, gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for being my guest today, both you, Sean, and you, Jerry. It is both a pleasure and an honor to work with you guys daily, and you make my world go round, and I love it, and I love being part of this community. Again, thank you. It was wonderful to have you guys as guests, and I will invite you back for more.
All right, we're ready to come back.
And Laura, thank you for who you are and all you do. Laura has the toughest job of everybody involved with RAC. And the way you show up and the way you care, and the commitment that you've given to me personally, to RAC, and to all the people involved is it's truly inspirational. And I am so grateful to have you in my life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're a part of mine too. I always say to him, I bleed blue. I always bleed blue. If you don't bleed blue, you shouldn't be on my team.
You shouldn't be here, all right?
Hoya blue.
Again, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.